3, 2, 1. Yo! What is going on, Arkansas Razorback fans, SEC fans everywhere? Welcome to the one, the only Pig Trail Network YouTube channel. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why. We're full of sound effects. We're full of them right here. I don't have a soundboard. I'm not cool enough. How you guys doing, Celtics for life? What's up, Ty? What's up, bro? Big man Ross, what's up? How are you doing, sir? Thank you guys so much for being here, for stopping by. Remember to, either now or before you leave, to like. Feel free to leave a comment, any questions, anything you got for me. You can always email me, too. I had someone slide into my DMs yesterday wanting me to help them start their own hog talk or their own hog podcast. So you can always DM me as well if I follow you back on Twitter or if we're friends on Facebook, or you can email me. You can comment down below here. And, of course, if you haven't already, feel free to tap the subscribe button. Like, comment, share. That is correct. I don't know why that message was held for review, though. Where's the sunglasses? That's really just for the Friday show. Is what that's for. The drip. I do have, which I should wear more often. These bad boys right here. There you go. There you go. Okay. Latest Hog Talk podcast is available for download. You guys can check that out down below in the description box. Click on that little HTTP link. Takes you right to the latest episode of the Hog Talk podcast, so feel free to indulge yourselves. Sunglasses are for Friday. They're for the Flamingo Friday shows. Today, what are we doing today? What is this? What is this? Ooh, what is Ty drinking today? Oh, you saw it there a little bit if you were paying attention. It's White Claw. We're doing White Claws. What I did actually have my wife. We're doing the black cherry. I did actually have my wife pick these up. I like them. I'm a fan. I know. I made fun of people for drinking them. Oh, let's get the crack. Oh, that's just such a gorgeous sound. Okay. That's so good. Once it hits the lips, it's so tasty. Okay. If you can name the movie that's from, by the way. If anyone in chat can name the movie that's from. Once it hits the lips. I know that's not like a major quote from this movie, but this movie is a juggernaut. It has some really big actors in it, and it was kind of the start of this comedian from SNL's like comedic his comedic rise in the movies. Kyle has rubbed off on you, man. I know. I'm sorry. Again, I don't know why these messages are being held for review. He has. Well, it's not Kyle, really. It's just that everyone I know drinks these damn things. I used to make fun of them. And then I had a couple, and I was like, damn, son. They're pretty tasty. Made pure. It even says so. Crafted using our unique brew pure process and only the finest flavors to deliver a surge of pure refreshment in a hard seltzer like no other. White Claw, hard seltzer. Made pure. I guess that's their tagline. So, boom! Celtics for life nailed it. I didn't think anybody would get that. I really thought that would take a little bit. Or someone watching the show later. Old school. That is right. Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, what's his name? Jeremy Piven. I think he's in it. He has a small role. I love Jeremy Piven. What's the movie that Jeremy Piven's a used car salesman? It's so funny. And Will Ferrell's in that, too. Like, this is, like, Will Ferrell just does everything. I remember when he had an Adult Swim show on Cartoon Network called The Oblongs. If you remember that, you're really old school. What I miss? Sup, fellow hogs. Alex Henderson, how you doing? Celtics for life, my man. This one's for you, sir. And also, there's several great moments in that. There's the scene where he shoots himself in the neck. And, oh my gosh, the guy that plays Stifler in the American Pie movies, I don't know why his name never sticks in my brain. But he says, you got a blank and dart in your neck. And he does the awesome, he does that. It's great. It is so good. It's classic. I love old school. Vince Vaughn. Did I already say that? Vince Vaughn, Will Ferrell, Jeremy Piven. I forgot One of the Wilson brothers is in it. So good. Okay. Not a ton of stuff to really talk about. I have to applaud Clay Travis on Twitter, where there's this dark looming cloud over college football and over kind of the Sean William Scott. That's his name, Sean William Scott, who's also in Role Models, which is also a really funny movie. But there's all this doom and gloom about should we play sports or not, and Clay Travis is out here laying down just some positivity, and it's actually backed by, it's backed by, analytics and statistics on COVID-19. So I got to applaud him because he'll never ever be, because he'll all he'll ever be is Stifler. Yeah, he's Stifler. Oh my gosh, that first one was so great. They should have just stopped right there. This one time at band camp. So, Frank the Tank. You remember that scene too? I'm telling you, man, there's so many great moments from that movie. Wedding Crashers is probably my favorite. Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, and Will Ferrell's in that as well. Chaz, is that the character he plays? Meatloaf! Ma! We want it! The meatloaf! How about Erin Outley committing? That was a big one. We've been saying for a while. That's the other thing. I wanted to talk about what Clay Travis has kind of been posting here and there on social media. And then Erin Outley, 3-star tight end. Look, we saw this all over our Hog Talk post on Facebook, which exploded. Well, no, actually the Erin Outley post didn't blow up like we thought it would. I mean, it did really well. But the baseball prospect that committed to Arkansas, who will never set foot on campus, I don't believe, when he committed, that post exploded. I had no idea that. I think that's going to be our most viral Facebook post following Razorback baseball that I've ever seen. And so since the inception of Hog Talk, that is, on our page. So, yeah, Erin Outley commits. He's a 3-star. Now, what we saw in the comments section was a lot of, well, why is he only 3 stars? Why does he have all these offers? What's the deal? Well, a large part of it, and I cannot, there's that seltzer kicking in. Oh, right there it is. I'm going to let a huge belch over the microphone here in a second. One of the biggest parts, and we've talked about this so many times, I'm getting blue in the face about it, but COVID-19 has knocked out, postponed, canceled all or most of these camps that these kids can go be a part of, where you can get in front of these recruiting analysts and start to boost your ratings a little bit. Well, they've all been pushed back, postponed, canceled. I just said it. Rinse and repeat. Now, we did have the Arkansas Elite 100, what was it, like 2 weeks ago? Right? 2 weeks ago, I think. And so we had that. But as far as like the national camps, they're just not happening. As far as I know. Now, maybe they are somewhere. I don't know. But Erin Outley, as far as I know, has not participated in these camps. He has so many good offers. He had a committable offer for a while. The only program that I know that really kind of backed off, well, because they took another tight end commit, was Florida State. But then you just throw a dart at the dartboard full of other teams, other Power 5 Division I schools. You're likely going to hit someone that has offered him at one of those major P5 schools. So he had just a boatload of offers, and as far as I know, a lot of them were very much committable offers. They weren't. It's not like they're just throwing in the dark offers. Now, look, he's out of Parkview, out of Little Rock. That program, a lot like Joe T. Robinson down in Central Arkansas, is they're starting to push out some players again. So you could also make the argument maybe they're offering him in hopes to land some other prospects, because they're about to start pumping out some more prospects. So maybe that had something to do with it. But again, if you watch his film, he's got a wide catch radius, meaning he catch like Cheyenne O'Grady. You guys remember some of his videos? I think did War Machine do a Cheyenne O'Grady video. I can't remember if he did or if he didn't, but I can remember watching him, and I've seen some stuff on YouTube. Like the guy catches everything around him. That's similar to Aaron Outley. He moves pretty well for someone who's like 6'4.5", 6'5", almost 260 pounds. He moves really well. And you look at his other offers. Again, Florida State eventually just backed off because they were in on several tight ends, and I think they took someone that was rated higher than him. I didn't actually go look, but he had other offers. LSU offered, Georgia Tech, Michigan State, Mizzou, Ole Miss, Oregon, Penn State, Tennessee. Now, as far as I know, most of these, I don't know to what degree, but most of these, I don't know how many of these are actually committable. Texas A&M, but most of them, from what information I've been able to gather, are absolutely committable offers. Florida State was probably, look, it's Florida State. Even when they're down, they're still going to sign. They're going to do really well when it comes to recruiting. But, yeah, Arkansas, this is a big one. You look at the depth concerns, right? Like, most programs don't have more than 4 or 5 tight ends on their roster. And a lot of times what you'll see them do is they'll move guys around. And tight end is one of those positions where, obviously you've got to be able to block well. You've got to be able to you got to have some pop off the line of scrimmage. You've got to be able to run some like short and medium routes. There's a lot to the tight end position. But as Arkansas has seen, they're moving Blaine Tollover, who was recruited as a defensive end. They're moving him over to come play tight end. And he played tight end in high school, I believe. He played both sides, but primarily was defensive end, and that's what Arkansas offered him as. So with that, Arkansas has 3 tight ends on scholarship on roster. Now you have some other walk-ons at the position. I think they have at least two other walk-ons. You've got at least two other walk-ons at that position. But so you need some scholarship depth at tight end, and that's what you're getting with Aaron Outley. I do believe he ends up signing with Arkansas, assuming we even have God only knows how this affects signing day. But I've been talking about Aaron Outley for months. His recruiting was blowing up. I said something before he ever got an offer from LSU or Florida State, who offered him, I think, back in February or March. This kid, his film was impressive. And then I reached out to some guys like Richard Davenport, Barry Grooms. I've talked with some other people, along with Kyle Sutherland, who also, like myself, keeps an eye on these in-state prospects. All of us are pretty impressed with Aaron Outley, including, like I said, when I say us, I mean Hog Talk, but obviously Richard Davenport and Barry Grooms. Look, Hooten's magazine came out. I don't know if you guys got one or not, but They have Outley, I believe, rated as the number 2 player in the state, behind the A&M commit Norwood at Fort Smith Northside. So he is, according to Hooten's, the number 2 prospect in the state. And look, those are guys that focus only on high school, right? Nothing against Nicky Chavanel, Trey Biddy, Danny West, all those people, Hutch. Nothing against them, but they're focused on recruiting in the state. Recruits out of the state, the program itself, like they've got their plates full. Hooten's is just high school. Not that they don't. I mean, obviously they always have that article about the Razorbacks, and they kind of go down the list, right? Like they'll have someone go down the list. In fact, they rank I think, was it top 100? I don't have my Hooten's magazine in front of me, but and I think they have Arkansas like 49th in the country or 50th. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but primarily those writers and what they do, their focus is in state, only on these high school prospects. That's their focus, and they're very high on Aaron Outley. And I can tell you that there's a reason why they have him rated so high. Now maybe I glossed over it, and that's what I saw was they had him at the number 2 spot. Maybe I looked at the wrong spot in the magazine. But anyways, if you have your Hootens, good for you. I have mine. It's in the kitchen. Forgot to grab it. I was going to show it off. So, yeah, Aaron Outley, Razorback, big-time get. I like it. I think he's not rated real high, but, again, if we ever get back to any form if normal ever happens to come back, if we get back to our normal routine, there's no doubt in my mind you'll start to see his numbers jump. You'll see him bump up quite a bit. especially a kid out of Parkview, out of Little Rock, right? When you're garnering that kind of attention, you just expect them to get another look from these recruiting analysts. So, yeah, good get for Arkansas. Getting 6'4", 200, right under 260. Out of Little Rock, Parkview, part of the 2021 class. Right now, he's rated as the number 21 player according to 247. He's the number 7 player in the state of Arkansas, number 54 overall tight end. And then their composite, they have him rated as the number 8 player in the state, number 59 tight end in the country, with just a whole bunch of offers. 23. Now, will that slow down for him? I don't know. Apparently, I had heard he wanted to take some visits, but with everything kind of being up in the air, with thanks to COVID. Thanks a lot, COVID-19. Thanks to that, I guess he's just, all right, I'm done. I'm going to just go ahead and commit to Arkansas. But supposedly he's been all hog for a while. So tasty. So tasty. Yeah, so I hope you guys had a great weekend. Notifications hate me, but I'm here. Thank you so much. Arkansas is better than you think. I still say that, and I'm almost 30. Bro, I just turned 37, and I will not I will still, if it's on Netflix, I'll watch it, but I have all the DVDs. I'll pop them in from time to time. If LSU offers someone, they're a legit player. Like I said, you always got to pay attention to committable offers. Now, that's hard to guess because that's not public information. You have to dig. You got to ask around. You got to reach out to people on the other side. How serious is the offers? Typically, how you want to. If you ever reach out to someone like Richard Davenport, or someone who's really, they've got a career doing this. That's the way to ask. Like, how serious are these offers from these other schools? Like, how serious are these schools? Like, what's their intent as far as you know? Because usually they're plugged in, right? Like, they're completely plugged into the college football matrix. They're plugged into the recruiting analysts down in LSU. They're plugged into the people at Tennessee. They're plugged into those media outlets who have a direct link to those respective universities. So that's what you got to do. You got to dig. LSU, like Kansas. Okay, Kansas has offered, dear God, I don't know. I'm sure if you've got a 14-year-old kid in your house, I'm sure he's been offered by Les Miles and Kansas. Like, they're all over Arkansas kids. Are they all 100% committable offers? Probably not. Sometimes they throw these offers out. What they do is they throw these offers out, they put them on the table, and really I don't want to say a ploy is too tough of something to say. It's not a ploy, but it's one way you open the door, right, to that player, to his connections. And then you have these kids that also recruit for your program. Arkansas's had that happen. They got a kid doing that right now, a certain quarterback commit who's helping you recruit. Sometimes, coaches utilize that, and so I'm not saying that that's the case with schools like LSU, but just because they have all these offers, it doesn't necessarily mean that, he should be a 5-star. That's why you'll see kids that have. Who was it? Darren McFadden. I think if you go back and you look at his profile, from what I can remember, I really think he only had 3 offers. Because everyone knew, he's hog. He's all hog. No one even bothered. Or sometimes what happens is these other universities reach out to these kids. Hey, we're going to throw an offer on the table to you, Clarence. And Clarence's response is, no, I'm good. So then they don't offer. Then they retract the offer. So, yeah, don't always look into just offers as a way, or even just star power for that matter. You got to do a little bit more digging. We're talking about this today on the Hog Talk in our chat about what really gives you an idea of how good a prospect is. And I think it's a combination of things. It's obviously what the analysts are saying. It's what the recruiting analysts are saying. It's what these camps, what the numbers are telling you at these camps. It's film, and it's their committable offers. Those are the best things to look at. And, yeah, that's not all super public information. You got to do a little bit of digging, but that's what we do. That's what I do, and that's what the Hog Talk guys do. We do it to the best of our ability anyways. We're not that great, but I'm not. Those guys do a wonderful job. Kyle's awesome. Tight end is a tough position. Let's hope Hudson Henry is as good as his brother and doesn't get injured. Tim, what's going on, man? Hey, Ty, greetings from Arizona. I am really impressed with Sam Pittman. Any thoughts on why he wasn't a head coach a long time ago? So he's been a coach at the what was it, like a junior college? He was a coach for a little while, like 2 or 3 years. I don't know. I really don't know why he wasn't a head coach sooner. I know that he really enjoyed being an offensive line coach. I think that he probably got comfortable with it. You look at the jobs he was getting. No one ever thinks about that, but think of the pay he was getting, and think of the jobs he was landing just to be an offensive line coach. I mean, Arkansas was paying him really well. Brett Bielema was paying him really well. Remember, that was one of the reasons why Bielema came to Arkansas, because he was tired of losing assistants at Wisconsin. At least that was the excuse that he gave everybody. He was tired of losing assistants because Barry Alvarez wouldn't pay. Well, he made sure that when he hired Sam Pittman. And remember, when they hired Pittman, like, my jaw hit the floor. That is still, to this day, I think it's the greatest positions coach hire Arkansas has made in years, and since before the Bielema era. And so they locked him in, so they thought. You remember the drama about the no-compete clause being a part of his contract, meaning that no other SEC school could come and, he couldn't accept a job from another SEC school. They didn't put him to that. They did everyone else on that staff, because Brett Bielema was so gung-ho on the idea that we got to lock these guys in and we got to make sure we throw the no-compete clause, which a lot of schools do. And they did that to everyone but Sam Pittman. He left. So I don't know why he waited until he was 57, 58 to take a head coaching gig. I'll tell you this much. He's from the area. He's from eastern Oklahoma. We used to drive through his part of the country when we have we don't, but we had access to a really cool lake house out on Grand Lake in Oklahoma. And we drive through parts of where Sam Pittman was from. That is very much like, if you travel through northeast Oklahoma, yeah, it's a lot of Oklahoma fans. It's one of the reasons why I always say half of Siloam is great. Half of Siloam Springs is great. But there's a lot of Hog fans on that part of the world. That's where he's from. And I think, I truly believe he took the job because he'd been here once before. He's familiar with the culture. Hell, he's a part of the culture. He grew up understanding Razorback history and loving the program. And I truly believe he waited for the perfect situation. And when you're regarded as one of the top, if not the best offensive line coaches in the country, you're producing how many offensive linemen they say he's responsible for getting into the NFL or like into the first round. He's had 7 first-round prospects, if I remember correctly, get drafted. When you're in that position, that's pretty comfortable. That's the only thing that I can think of. I don't think it's a question of his character or his ability to be a head coach. It does strike it has you wondering, maybe is that just his personality? Like, he just gets settled in. They're paying me a lot. You look at the schools he's coached at. I'm just going to stick with what I know, and maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe it was a comfort zone thing. I really don't know. Let's see. Tight end. What's up, Mark Douglas? Hope you're doing well, sir. Tight end these days need a wide variety of skills. Very true. From straight on the line blocking, move, lateral skills from the backfield, pulling, reach blocking, that on top of routes, catch run. Absolutely. The tight end position has evolved maybe more than any position on the field. You're seeing less fullbacks. There's going to be a time, I swear, where we don't know, or we're gonna have to teach the younger group of kids coming through now what a fullback used to be and what they did on offense. They're not going to know what the hell an I formation or offset I formation. What is that? Like, everything now is about, it's high tempo. Read option. It's a different game than it ever has been. When I was in high school in the late 90s, early 2000s. Now, when I played for the sophomore league for Fayetteville High, we never went shotgun. Never. And we were playing Springdale. I think it was the first year they had the turf on the ground. I think it was the first year of turf. I want to say it was 2000 or maybe 99, 2000. And our quarterback audibles to shotgun. I snapped that ball clean over his head. We didn't practice much shotgun. Today, it's an entirely different world. Not to say that shotgun wasn't common back then. Sure, I mean, you had programs, you had college teams that utilized shotgun spread offense, things like that. It's not like it was super uncommon, but at least in high school, maybe even in the state of Arkansas back in the late 90s, 2000, early 2000s, like that wasn't a very common thing. Maybe it had more to do with because it was sophomore league, not the upperclassmen, JV and the upperclassmen. But that just goes to show you like the difference now. Our neighbor has a kid that plays junior high. Like everything they do, it's all out of shotgun. It's all high tempo. It's a different world. And I think the state of Arkansas has Gus Malzahn to thank for that, and I think it kind of evolved from there. Some people even believe that Darren McFadden and the Wildcat changed the Peyton Hillis made that comment, that it changed the course of how offenses are viewed because of Arkansas, because then you saw the NFL adapt that kind of offense. Was it Miami that ran primarily maybe not primarily, but ran a lot out of the Wildcat back then? So it's a different game. And so because of that, fullbacks really don't exist. And tight ends, their roles in offense, it's changed just dramatically. It's a completely different position. You have them line up outside in the boundary, or you line them up in the slot. You just have different things designed, different plays designed for different players, and you want to get guys out in the open field. Well, why not have a tight end out at the boundary or in the slot position and use them to block downfield? Or have them catch short, medium routes. You're seeing that more and more, even before Gronkowski blew up in the NFL. I mean, it's just a position that has evolved so much over the years. I got a new chair, by the way. I don't know if you can't see it, but I'm digging it. I'm really digging this new chair. It's so nice. The ass isn't hurting yet. So, I agree. Mark, good comments, sir. If Arkansas has only 2 weeks of full pads before our first game, do you think will be in sync at all? Says Ask Clay, I should say. So is it 2 weeks? Is that what they're doing? Because they're doing this thing now. By the way, today the basketball team had their first full team practice. I guess that's what, or they had to report. So I'm sure they did their thing. I fixed my microphone here. So that happens pretty soon, and I don't know if anything has changed from the NCAA or from the SEC. I really don't know what to expect. I feel like anytime I say something, well, we're going to hear the opposite tomorrow. And I think this week's going to be huge. I think we're going to get some news this week that could absolutely alter the course of college football in 2020. I think it's coming. It has to. People are getting mad at the NFL. Drew Brees took to Twitter yesterday complaining about how the NFL it doesn't seem like they have a plan in place. And if you don't think the NCAA or Greg Sankey, the SEC, if you don't think they're paying attention to that, they most certainly are. So I think this week we're going to get some big news. When you're talking about the future of college football, and maybe just the SEC, maybe it's the NCAA, all of it, Division I. I think we're going to get something. We're going to hear something this week. I feel it in my bones. There's no source. There's no, it's just having my finger on the pulse of kind of what's going on. I've got all these notifications turned on Twitter. I'm listening to what these people are saying. I'm looking at the COVID test. I'm looking at what Clay Travis is posting. I'm looking at not that he's my only source before people start blasting Clay Travis, and I look at as much information as I can. So just kind of having my finger on the pulse. I feel like this week we're going to hear something, that's going to have a huge effect on whether or not we have on whatever happens this year. I think we're going to hear something this week that alters that, or maybe not. Maybe the NCAA comes out and says, you know what? We're looking at the numbers by the end of the week. We're actually seeing a pretty big decline in parts of the world, or parts of the country, rather. You know what? We're going to go on business as usual. That could also happen. I think that's very slim. I think those odds are slim. So, speaking of what Clay Travis said today, he said a couple things that make just too much sense. He does these positivity reports, right? Because everyone else is so damn negative. Monday, coronavirus positivity, just 365 nationwide deaths. Now, he says just because, those numbers haven't gone. Everyone has been claiming now for the last couple of months these numbers are expected to go up. They're not. It looks like they're starting to dip. Positive test percentage hits 2-week low at 7.9% deaths. Have not surged in a substantial way despite daily cases tripling in the past month. That's what Clay Travis said on Twitter. He also, I love this too, talking about the regular season. Of course, I refreshed the page and it disappeared. Where'd it go? He made a comment about what Greg Sankey had said. So he was on HBO. Where is it? Real Sports. HBO interviewed Greg Sankey for Real Sports in this excerpt. And this excerpt they're releasing to the press as well. It's something. Clay Travis quotes, and that's a tweet from Dan Wolken. This is an eminently reasonable answer. College kids are likely much safer on campus with doctors, testing, and treatment than they would be in their own home cities. College football Corona Bros gonna college football Corona Bros. But here's what was said. HBO's David Scott. Again, this is from a piece from Real Sports on HBO. And do they have a political bias there? Yes, they do. It's HBO. But they say, HBO's David Scott says, to the extent that you have already flown, I gather hundreds of athletes back to your campuses for training. Haven't you already put them at an increased risk of infection? Greg Sankey fires back. He says, well, first of all, let's be clear. We haven't flown student athletes back to our campuses. Take that. Some of our student athletes will drive. Others will make their own arrangements. So we haven't done that. You're asking a question in comparison. So in comparison to what? To having them work out at homes or home gyms that may have been their own hotspots when talking about corona, without oversight of sports medicine specialists, without strength and conditioning coaches, ? And the reality informed what I still believe was the right decision. Think about that for a second. I mean, he just dropped a bomb, and this is why we need to be thankful, even if you don't like Clay Travis. Okay, Clay Travis wrote the book, something like the dumbest fan bases Arkansas made his top 10. Razorback fans have hated the man since, okay? I really think it was just a book to gain a lot. It was clickbait, let's be real. How do you truly judge an entire fan base based on some reactions across social media? He goes into more depth in the book. It's humorous. I hated him after that. Bo Mattingly used to bring him on. I used to be like, I'd swearing at my, picking my kids up from the in-laws after work, and I'd just be swearing in my truck, oh, that guy. Oh, that fella. But I love that he pointed this out. Greg Sankey says it right here. Right here. To having them work out at homes or home gyms that may have been their own hotspots without oversight of sports medicine specialists. Think about that. Who's going to take more care of these kids? Who has more at risk here than the university, than the football program, basketball program, baseball, track, you name it, softball? Who's the most concerned and going to keep a better eye on these kids? This is why there's a difference between this, college kids playing the game, giving them the option, versus grade school kids. Okay, give parents the option. Give them the virtual, nothing but virtual, or you can send them to school, whatever you want to do. Give them the option to do that. And here, I think you should do the same thing. And Greg Sankey just freaking nails it. Up yours, David Scott, HBO. I love it. I love it. I was reading that aloud, and I was like, yeah, that makes so much sense. The way he put it is crystal clear. We're going to have, doesn't mean they're not going to get COVID. It absolutely could still happen. Probably will happen. If someone's asymptomatic, maybe they kind of get through the cracks somehow. But if they have widespread testing available, you're able to do it. And I saw somewhere where the NCAA, a representative of the NCAA had stated that we need to have testing available. I think it's up to like 72 hours before a game starts, before like we really start this to have the conversation of whether or not we have sports in the fall or not. I could be wrong on who said that. Maybe it wasn't an NCAA spokesperson, so don't quote me on that. Take that with a grain of salt. But I just think Greg Sankey killed it right here. No one's going to keep a better eye on these kids than the universities. Again, it's not going to stop COVID-19. It's not going to stop it, right? Someone's going to get it. It could spread. But they're going to be monitored. I would feel a lot better of keeping that kid the hell out of my house. If I have a son playing at Arkansas or wherever, I'd feel a hell of a lot better if they were being monitored daily maybe even hourly by a medical staff at a university of a major, Power 5 football, any football program for that matter, but especially the schools that can afford it. A school like Arkansas or Alabama, LSU, whatever, Tennessee. But I'd feel way more comfortable that kid being at that university than in my house. The hot spot could be here. It could be in my town. Odds are it probably is. And then there's this testing that's happening. There's testing that's going on across the country. And, of course, I lost the so Notre Dame. Notre Dame put up a piece here they put on Twitter. I think it was today, July 20th. Notre Dame football COVID-19 testing update. And we're seeing more and more of this. We talked about Arkansas last week. Like, what was it? Eight kids had tested positive of the whatever it was, 300 kids they tested. A total of 103 Notre Dame football student athletes received COVID-19 testing on Wednesday, July 15th, my birthday. All 103 tested negative, according to university physician Dr. Matt Leisler. Now, again, what did I say last week? That's assuming we 100% believe they're telling the truth. And I think they are, because if they're lying, the risk, I don't know that there's risk here. The risk does not outweigh the reward, because then you're talking lawsuits, backlash. You're talking about, especially with cancel culture these days, my God, it's already bad across campuses across the country. But if you're lying about this and you're putting these kids at risk, then yeah, that's a problem. So I'm saying maybe you should even take this with a grain of salt. But still, this is the information these universities are putting out. I believe most campuses are being upfront about it. One football student athlete was administered COVID-19 testing between the July 1st and July 15th group testing dates based upon feedback from daily health questionnaires. The student athlete, who was mildly symptomatic, so he wasn't asymptomatic, he was mildly symptomatic, tested positive. They are self-isolating and recovering well through contact tracing. 4 football student athletes are in self-quarantine, all of whom are asymptomatic at this time. Overall, Notre Dame has administered 356 COVID-19 tests to members of the football program and athletics department staff, with 2 positive tests. Any additional information regarding COVID-19 testing will be reported as it becomes available. So, and the other reason why I don't think they're being completely dishonest about this too is because that doctor is putting himself at a great deal of risk. I mean, you think about that. If a doctor's going to lie about that, or gets caught up in the act of the lie, well, he's done, right? I mean, you might as well just hand in your license. Like, you're done. So, and also with social media, these kids have access. Doesn't take 20 seconds for them to, university lied, tweet, sent. So that's why I think I'm more inclined to trust these results, but I'm still skeptical a little bit. Maybe not skeptical. Maybe that's too harsh of a word. So there's a lot of positivity coming out of the campuses if they're to be believed. I think Tennessee had said something similar where they tested hundreds and only had a couple, I think, come back test positive. I mean, you can Google it. Google schools across the country testing results, COVID-19 testing results. That's good news. Right now, and this is something that Greg Sankey or the rest of these conferences are going to have to look at and weigh. Okay, there's a point to be made here that maybe actually keeping them under surveillance, under our medical apparatus that we have around these universities, especially in the athletic facilities or with the athletic department, with the medical teams and everything. Maybe that is actually the better route. That's something that's going to weigh on these people. So, all right, there's our COVID. There's our COVID update. So we talked to Erin Outley, and we talked about this COVID stuff. Want to know what you guys think? Let's see. Hey, viewers, Ty's doing a great job. Hit the like button. Only 6 likes so far. He deserves it. He knows his stuff. I appreciate that, Tim. I really do appreciate that. Traylon Burks should be a tight end just because he could create some mismatches with linebackers, etc. Could make some big plays. I really believe he's the kind of player. When he was in high school, there was a legitimate argument to be made that he might excel as high or higher at linebacker. You look at him on special teams as a punt returner. I really think you put him at any position. Hell, I think you could put him at quarterback. Well, I mean, that's probably a stretch. But you could put him at any position on the roster, and he's going to do well. He's going to excel. Well, I got to go. Good listening to. Hey, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. So let's make sure we're getting caught up. I think that's it in chat. So, yeah, appreciate the likes, the comments. You guys, the questions are great. The White Claw, it's also so delicious. So delicious. I want to do some more local beers. I want to bring some local craft beer on. So I might start doing that. I want to give these guys some respect. Also, something else, if you can, there was a really good piece done. I wish I had his name up in front of me, but it's one of these stations down in Little Rock. I was talking about the local mom and pop Razorback stores that are suffering from all this, and how big of a deal fall football is to them and fall sports is to these little local mom and pop shops. You know, if you're in the neighborhood, if you're in Fayetteville, if you're in wherever outside of Northwest Arkansas, even if you know a local Razorback shop, go in and buy whatever it is you're looking there from there. If you're able to, give them your business if you're able to. I know they're probably going to be a little bit more than Walmart, but first off, anytime I walk into one of these Razorback mom and pop shops, it's amazing the stuff they have. They have stuff that I've never seen before. Okay, and being born and raised in Fayetteville, that's saying something. I've seen just about every piece of Arkansas merch that's ever been created on the face of the planet. And it's really cool every time you go into one of these places. I think the one in Fayetteville, there's one called Game Day, and then there's Stadium Shop. Is that the one down on Razorback Road? I hope those people don't watch this because they're just going to be embarrassed because I'm butchering their establishments. I apologize for that. But for anyone in Fayetteville, you know what I'm talking about. There's one down on Razorback Road kind of right before you get to Baum. If you're heading that direction towards 49, it's on your right before you get to Baum. That's not Game Day. Is it Stadium Shop? I feel like it's Stadium Shop. Then you've got Game Day on Martin Luther King next to the Subway there in the Seven Brew. God bless Seven Brew, by the way. That is some of the best coffee. It beats Starbucks. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. There's another Vince Vaughn quote from Wedding Crashers. Okay. Yeah, if you're able to, please go give these people your business. If there's something you're looking for, maybe you're looking for a hog hat you want to wear while you're playing NCAA 14 because that's all the football you're probably going to get this fall, or at least it's starting to feel that way a little bit. The pendulum's swinging in the opposite direction. That kind of sucks. So you want to wear the hog hat to put you in a better mood? Go down to a mom and pop shop. Pick it up from them. Let them know you're willing to give them your business. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming through. To the Patreon supporters, like I always say, all of you are rock stars, but the Patreon supporters, I really do appreciate it. To everyone who's thrown a tip in the old PayPal tip jar, those links are provided for you down below in the description box. But I do appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks again for your questions and your comments. Hoping to be live between 5 and 6 p.m. on Friday. Unless something comes up, I'll try to give you guys a heads up. So that'll do it. Woo Pig Suey. We'll see you later. Woo Pig.